This episode of Twin Speaks contains spoilers.
Hello and welcome to Twin Speaks First Watch, First Listen of The Sisters Brothers, starring John C. Reilly, Joaquin Phoenix, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Riz Ahmed. Directed by Jacques Audiard. I said this before, I was like saying it to myself, I was like, I'm going to get this right. And then I fucked it up. I think he's French.
I think he's Italian.
All right, well, 0 for 2.
Because they filmed it in Italy.
That's where it was filmed?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I should know this.
Oh, my God.
Also written by him and Thomas Beat Again. I'm going to say that one was pretty close. Okay, I'm your co-host, Pat. You can find me on Twitter at @kidcombo_. And I have, of course, joined by my twin brother and co-host. You can find him on social media at Andemonium. Recently has taken a new love with the NBA. It's Andrew.
My favorite teams are LA and Golden State.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Well, you were like telling me that. I mean, you didn't say that. Your favorite teams are LA and Golden State. But...
Well, okay, so it's LeBron, so I'm just going to follow it.
Yeah, sure.
And Golden State can get fucked. Like, they're always going to be good. They're going to be good. They're the best,
sure.
Possibly the best team in the NBA of all time.
I was going to say for a really long time.
So...
But what was you said your favorite team was what? Denver?
I don't know.
Just sort of.
I'm following Denver.
Yeah, right.
I was hoping that Isaiah Thomas would be back, but he's not. And then obviously like the Raptors, because as most Canadians do.
Kawhi
Leonard.
Oh yeah, Kawhi. See, this is how my love of the NBA has started. Justin, if you're listening, I'm sorry. What made you get into the NBA then?
I don't know. What are you trying to do here?
I'm trying to spark some sizzle.
No. I don't want any sizzle, no sizzle.
All right. Very good. That was kind of my only preamble. That was the only thing I had set up for
I was going to say, I was impressed with how you said the Sisters Brothers, because like I actually thought of all the things you were going to mess up, that would be it. But
I've been practicing saying that. Because I've been describing it to everybody I've been talking to. Because I fucking love that movie. I thought it was so good. Yeah. Unbelievable. But there's a little sizzle there for you to keep listening.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for my. Well, I guess you already know my thoughts, but
they could.
I mean, you can close out now. Yeah, just give us that listen, and that's it. Okay. Let's do some news first. There's just been like some decent, super interesting stuff over the last little week. So to start off, did you hear Guillermo del Toro is going to direct a Pinocchio?
Oh, sorry, you're
film.
Right. Jacques Audiard is French.
French.
Yeah.
All right.
But it was filmed in Italy. I do know that.
Cool.
Anyways.
So yeah, Guillermo del Toro is directing a Pinocchio movie for Netflix. It's, according to Variety, it'll be a stop-motion musical version of the classic children's tale. And he's set to write and produce the film in addition to directing, with Mark Gustafson co-directing and Patrick McHale co-writing the script.
When did we decide that we needed live action versions of everything?
No, it's animated.
I thought you just said live action.
No. I said animated stop motion musical version.
Well,
stop motion will be really cool.
Now I have all this pent up rage. Where am I gonna spew it?
Oh, that was really maxing out the levels there.
Yeah, that's fine. I have no thoughts about it then.
I think that'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be kind of sweet.
I don't know what a
little weird that they're like
Guillermo del Toro movie is going to be like.
Well, I thought Pinocchio was Disney. Is it not?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's interesting that they're doing a Disney movie for Netflix.
Oh, before all this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true. Is it for Netflix? When is it supposed to come out?
There was kind of no info on it yet. It just says like what the movie will be about. So stop motion musical version of it. But other than that, I mean, it doesn't really have too much on it. But yeah, kind of weird that it'll be for Netflix and not. I mean, I thought it was
unless
Disney.
It's not a Disney movie.
Yeah, are we like
I'm
messing
looking
up
at it right now?
Because Pinocchio was in Shrek.
So
that's
okay.
DreamWorks.
Wait, is it a remake or is it like its own thing? Because if it's its own thing, then like this is based off of a children's novel from the 1883 or something.
Which
so it could be based on that, and that's how they're getting around it. So they might not be doing it through Disney.
Yeah, and it says based off the version of the classic children's
So
tale.
that's it. So
maybe
so
that's
it's
how
not a Disney version at all. So
Yeah,
that's how
right.
they're not releasing it on the Disney streaming service.
Oh, that's kind of not
Interesting.
sneaky, but
Not
smart.
sneaky,
I guess
smart. Yeah,
smart.
that's the only way you can get around it.
Sure.
Because Disney got a hold of so many of these things
Oh,
early
yeah.
on.
They're big on that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that'll be kind of interesting. I think a musical version of it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Disney ones, I think, is somewhat musical.
It is. I think they all are. Though.
Yeah, but stop motion, I think that'll be really cool.
It'll be really
since,
weird.
Like, Guillermo del
It's
Toro
going to be
really
real weird.
and he hasn't really done any animated stuff. I mean, he's probably done like some short stuff. But
Yeah. I don't know how this is going to... I
cool. I don't
I like the idea of Pinocchio being real weird looking.
How do you do that in
Stop motion. Like,
Just
watch
keep
him just be like
pinching the nose.
twigs.
Ugh.
Like, just sticks that are wrapped together. And then... And there's like going to be a labyrinth involved, and
Okay.
it's going to be a real frog. Maybe. I don't know.
There'll be a fish guy at some point
Fish
in a
guys?
castle. Yeah,
What's-
I'm
I don't know.
putting
Yeah,
all the
you're
movies
bridging,
together. Anyway. Okay, moving on. Wind River director Taylor Sheridan to direct and write new film starring Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Working title is Fast, and it's sort of based on like I think a CIA agent. Is that
Yeah.
like?
That's what it sounded like. It was like it was like the CIA is trying to get this guy that the FBI is protecting, or vice versa.
Yeah,
I
okay.
can't remember.
But
But it's like, it almost sounds like a little Sicario like too,
Yeah,
which
cool.
is cool. I
That's
don't
sweet.
know, like Chris Pratt in like that serious of a movie too.
yeah,
Because like Taylor Sheridan doesn't do comedy. Like all
Not at
how many
all.
like Wind River, Sicario, Hell or High Water.
very serious movies.
Very serious movies, and like it'll be great to see him in that though. Like I'm
Yeah,
excited
cool.
to see how he does.
But
He
it,
definitely fits the mold as far as like who he directs.
yeah,
Chris Pine,
Chris Pine.
Ben Foster,
Yeah,
Hawkeye.
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah,
Did you say Hawkeye? Jeremy
Yeah.
Renner. Oh, sorry.
yeah, Jeremy Renner, Josh Brolin, like
Yeah.
all those like type of like not like manly men, but like
Hollywood.
Hollywood
man
manly
actors.
men.
Yeah, sure. It's interesting because I think this really is only happening because, Guardians of the Galaxy's on hiatus, and then same with Jurassic
Yeah.
Park franchise. It's probably like done for a little bit. So,
Yeah.
it's
Well, I
sort of-
saw that Kevin Feige said that we're getting Avengers 4 by the end of the year,
yeah, right.
and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is not happening. It's like shelved right now.
Oof. Which is kind of what we said last week.
Yeah.
We had said that they're putting it on hiatus. Like they're not
Yeah.
doing it. Like so
They
that'll
might just
be-
move it for Fantastic Four
Yeah,
or
sure.
X-Men or something. Like they're
Now they're going to shift focus to something else.
Like they could end it there, and they could still use those characters in Avengers movies,
yeah, like they did.
or a new Thor
Yeah.
if he stays Thor,
Yeah, sure.
and just shift in a new like different team.
Yeah.
It's like nobody like.
Which is probably that's like the biggest thing that they'll probably do.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
excited
know.
for this. I love Taylor Sheridan. I love anything.
I
that
just,
he's done.
I
And
love
the fact that he like directed
Yeah.
Wind River too.
And Hell or High Water and
No, he didn't direct Hell or High Water.
yeah, I thought he did.
No, he
wrote
didn't.
it anyway.
He wrote it.
Yeah.
He wrote Sicario, didn't direct Sicario, but he directed.
Oh, right, because that was the big thing with
Was that
yeah, right.
he said only he could do it because
Yeah.
he'd spent time on
Okay,
those reserves.
you're right.
and
I do
stuff,
remember
yeah.
that. I'm excited for this because of Taylor Sheridan, but I don't know what like for Chris Pratt in that sort of role.
Yeah, I don't know either, but yeah.
But I mean, he got Chris Pine to look. I mean, he didn't direct that, but
Chris
obviously,
Pine's
like,
a good actor.
Chris
though,
Pine's
like,
an amazing actor,
Yeah.
and he made him look. He was able to look sort of grizzled and fit that role really, really well.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Renner obviously is a fantastic actor, so I don't think that there's going to be a problem shifting Hollywood guy to this sort of movie
Yeah.
where you're sort of removed from that like aspect of Hollywood. But I don't know. I'm excited for it, but I'm apprehensive about Chris Pratt.
Yep. That's fair.
Yeah. So moving on, Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese to reteam on Killer of the Flower Moon, based on the book of the same name by David Graham, with Eric Roth penning the script. There's like a little blurb about what it is. It says the story is set in 1920s Oklahoma and revolves around the Osage Nation, who were the richest people per capita in the world after oil was discovered under their land, and then they were murdered one by one.
Oh.
Sounds fucking cool. Sounds like a classic Martin Scorsese movie.
Sounds like classic American Midwest history movie.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. There's really nothing else when the movie is going to come out or whatever that, like, it just sounds fucking cool, and it's cool to see those two again working together.
His The Irishman's coming out on Netflix, isn't it? Yeah. And I saw that it's only doing like a 2-week run.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Like a theatrical run? Like, what did they do? Yeah.
It's like through Netflix, but they're like, we'll only do it for 2 weeks, and then we're going to like...
So they're like, we'll run it for 2 weeks, and then we'll put it back on Netflix.
Yeah. Suck it, nerds.
What? Like, I don't understand that. Anyways, like, this looks
fun. You guys just wait, and it'll be for free anyway, whatever.
Yeah. But knowing that, too, like, we're not going to see that for 3 years.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Because it takes them how long?
It took forever for The Irishman to get made, so...
And same with whatever the last one
Silence was probably the last one.
Yeah, Adam Driver and
Andrew Garfield.
Liam Neeson was in that too.
Hey, look at us naming names.
You're going to jinx it.
Fuck yeah.
We got it over with in the very beginning when you screwed up the last bit of those names. Now we're on a roll.
Yeah. Okay, so... the other big one, which probably isn't that like surprising, is Lucasfilms confirms that Boba Fett's Star Wars movie is 100% dead.
I wonder if this is them being like, Boba Fett is dead.
Yeah, is it like the movie's dead and he's dead? Or
he's dead,
like...
Stop asking about it.
But
well, I think this makes sense because they're doing that.
The Mandalorian show.
And this is their way. I think this is the exact same thing they did with A Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. They are... shifting into a new group of characters and getting rid of the ones that were, so that a new group of like a new fan base has something to hold on to.
Sure.
So if they say no Boba Fett, but hey, we have this other cool guy.
Yeah.
Check him out. Like, he's basically the same thing, but maybe he's like, I don't know, a little bit different.
And gives them a bit more control because they can start.
Yes, exactly. Up. So they can like dictate whatever his background is. They don't have people going like, well, actually, Boba Fett would do that or whatever.
Like, fucking Star Wars fandom, like, they would love to do that. They would love to pick it apart and be able to like, but if they're starting from the ground up, then they don't have the liberty of doing that. Like,
exactly,
they have all the control.
Yeah.
Cool. That's great news. Everybody kind of saw that coming anyway, but fuck yeah, that Star Wars show looks just sweet.
Yeah, watch like them go through 9 or 10 episodes, and on the 10th episode, closing credits, takes off his helmet one last time. Both of it. They're like, he wasn't dead. We been fucking, and then he's just middle finger towards the camera.
It turns into like a dead fool, kind of like breaking the fourth wall thing.
Yeah.
Fuck you, nerd.
Remake The Last Jedi now, bitch.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm excited for that show, though. Moving on. This Rian Johnson murder mystery movie, that Knives Out, sounds really fucking cool because Jamie Lee Curtis just got added to it, your favorite. But Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Lakeith Stanfield, and Michael Shannon are all in the credits.
Yeah, I'll see anything Michael Shannon's in.
And Rian Johnson. I really like Rian Johnson. I know a lot of people didn't like that last Star Wars movie, but whatever, fuck it. Like, I like it.
Yeah, but he did... What other movie did he do? Did he do that monster one, or is that... Am I thinking of...
No, you're right. He did Godzilla.
And then he did...
And
Monsters.
Monsters before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a sick movie.
Honestly, I rewatched Godzilla recently.
I like it.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's really good.
People like to shit on that movie because it's like the army aspect. But it's like, what other aspect are you expecting to see?
Yeah, but they needed... You rewatch it again and you go like, they could take two ways. They could do the civilian like they do in Monsters.
Sure, yeah.
Those are identical movies. Yeah. They are identical movies.
Yeah.
Instead, they were like, well, I can't do that again. Like, I could, and you could just, like, follow through. But then you add that military aspect. All of a sudden, you have a reason for characters to be close to the monster. Exactly. Otherwise, you don't have one. Otherwise, you have a camera up close, but whose perspective are you using?
Otherwise, you're just that person on the train that gets, destroyed, and then you're like, oh, there goes the monster.
Yeah,
it's like I'm over with it.
This is such a tangent, but, like, if you put him close... then at least you have a reason to, like, be close to the action and everything. It gives you perspective to, like, associate yourself with. You're like, all right, that makes sense. Like, he's like he would be there. And the way that they like talk about him and stuff, he's like one of the last guys who can defuse bombs. Like that's his job.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I like those. Like Ryan Johnson's fun.
I like him a lot. It just says the pick from MRC is a modern day murder mystery in the classic whodunit style, infused with Johnson's original voice that informed films from Brick to Looper.
He did Looper? Oh, I forgot about that. Damn, he's done a lot of some of my like top movies.
Craig will star as a detective. Fuck yeah. Assigned to solve the crime. Details about Curtis's character remain unknown. But still, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
I'll see anything with Daniel Craig because he's awesome. Michael Shannon's aweson. Ryan Johnson.
Michael Shannon hasn't done a lot since the other movie that he did with Aaron Tyler Johnson. It was like the detective one too.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
I forgot what that was called.
Well, he was in Shape of Water. Came out last year.
Right.
Was it last year? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, but
So,
he hasn't done much of anything
the
last little while.
But
What's her face? Jamie Lee Curtis coming off of Halloween.
It's cool to see her starting to do like good movies again.
And again, she was like outside of just TV. She was not.
You're right. She was in kind of crappy projects, but like it's cool to see her doing cool stuff again. Yeah. Another big one, Wonder Woman 84 has been moved from November 1st, 2019, which is like just about a year from now, release date, to June 5th, 2020, which they're saying is because it's taking the spot of Mark Wahlberg's movie, The $6 Billion Man, which just sounds like shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
so they're saying
dumped
that's getting dumped, and then they're moving it in that spot. So they're saying it's not because it's like shit's happening with the movie. They're saying like, oh no, like
this is a good move.
Yeah, they're saying it's a good move, but
I was reading this thing and it was like,
well, there's like that one comment was like,
is this the first time? Yeah, exactly. That something's been moved up for a good reason versus like production problems or whatever. It moves up to a summer release, pre-summer release, to exactly what they did with the first one. They no longer are fighting Guardians, which got pushed back again to 2020.
Which November 1st, 2019 is such a weird date. Like it's kind of end of the year. Like you're not really focused on looking at movies. Like summer movies are that's the time.
Yeah,
right?
but like it depends on what they want.
Sure.
They want to make money because they know maybe it's good enough. It'll get buzz. X, Y, and Z. They'll put it in the beginning of summer because they know people will see it. It'll build. It'll make money.
And then you'll have
put it in November,
for the rest of the summer,
and it won't. You put it late in the year, it's probably an award movie, right?
Sure.
Like so, it makes sense why they would move it up. It was weird that it was so late to begin with because it's kind of a no man's land type thing.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, but. It's exciting. They finally acknowledged that Chris Pine's in it.
Yeah,
which I thought was funny. So
because like he was at the con or whatever doing the panel.
Yeah, he was doing that, and he was in those. He's not here. He was in those.
He's here for.
And he was in those pictures too.
Yeah,
like not set pictures; they were official photos.
Yeah,
like are they just pretending that he's not there? They're like, "This isn't Chris Pine. It's Chris Fur."
Fuck off.
Chris Pines. I can't even say like long lost twin because why would he have the first name first name and
it's like they're twins but he's got a different last name. Oh god. Alright. Okay, so like I mean it's kind of a bummer that you won't be able to see that movie for another year. I mean it'll be now like a year and a half, 2 years almost. But whatever. I mean it sounds like it's a good move, so yeah, moving on. Alexander Skarsgård set to star in Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Yeah, I read the rest of like the cast list. I don't know any of these people.
I know, that's what I mean. Like
I know all the ones from like the one that's coming, like Gods or whatever it's called.
Godzilla King of the God or God of the Kings or King of the Monsters. Sorry.
God of the King of the Gods.
King of the Monsters.
And like I recognize like Kyle Chandler and. What's her face?
Julian
Bobby
Dennison?
Brown from whatever.
We've heard that name before.
But like, yeah, and it was like, hey, do all those people die?
Yeah, right.
Because they're not.
It's a whole
But then
new
like
cast.
also it is also a new cast from
the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other Godzilla.
So how many of the characters from King Kong are now in this one? Because I know that Godzilla takes place present day.
Because it says
and King Kong took place in like the 70s, I think.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, right.
So
yeah,
like,
you're right.
I'm
So
assuming none
obviously-
of those characters carry over.
Yeah, right. That would be obvious. So it says directed by Adam Wingard and also starring Julian Dennison, Brian Tyree Henry, and Damian Berkshire. I don't know.
Don't know.
Julian Dennison I recognize. Brian Tyree Henry maybe I recognize, but that is set to release in May 22nd, 2020. Which makes sense, because like the other one's coming out next year, so that one would follow. So yeah. I only had one other thing on here, and it was just like that Keanu Reeves new movie called Replicas that has Thomas Middleditch in it and Alice Eve. And I forgot to send it to you, but mostly I was going to tell you that it looks fucking awful.
Oh, really?
It looks really
I
bad. And
haven't
it's
seen the
kind of
trailer.
weird because like we got a trailer a year ago.
Sorry, what's her face? I'm looking at the cast list for what's it called. Julian Dennison is the kid from Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, continue.
Basically, like I was going to say this, but it's just about a biologist who violates all possible laws. This is like what the movie description says. It's all about a biologist who violates all possible laws and principles in order to bring back life to members of his family who died in a car accident. And like in the trailer, it's like him, and they're like it's sort of in like a lab, and he's putting like sentient life or the brain, whatever, of like the people that died or whatever, and into these like androids. And so it's literally the android like waking up being like, oh, what is this? And then him feeling his face going, ah! And then him screaming. And it's really kind of fucked up to like watch. And the acting in it, like Keanu Reeves just sounds awful in it, to be honest.
Oh, really?
He sounds really bad.
Oh.
You kind of hear Thomas Middleditch. You don't really see him, but you hear him. Fuck, man. It just looks
Isn't he?
really bad.
He's also in the new Godzilla, isn't he?
Yeah.
And they like he doesn't talk in it at all.
Which I really
He's,
hope
like,
that
can't
he's
do.
getting in more dramatic roles, because I like him as an actor. I'm kind of tired of seeing Thomas Middleditch. Okay, so side tangent on Thomas Middleditch. I like him as a comedian, and I think he's really funny, but I'm just really tired of seeing him in the same exact role in every movie, which is like the goofy, smart, nerdy, dorky person.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know he can play that character. Like, you ever seen like Silicon Valley? Like he sort of plays a lesser version of that.
The reason he plays characters like that, and I've seen him in interviews, is because he's like that.
That's
in real
just
life.
how he is. But
That's
it's
just
like,
how he is. He's not acting.
No, I know, but I guess my point is that like I know he's a good actor.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to see him in more dramatic roles because I think he is a good actor.
So what if he's in a dramatic role and he's
turns out
still
to
the
be
same
shit?
character
Yeah,
though?
Whatever.
Well, he's still the same character. He's just less funny.
It
So they
could
take
be.
the funny. They take the like the redeeming part of him.
Yeah. And just like
and they're like, hey, you
take
know,
it
the things that
completely
make
away.
you entertaining now is just you clumsily like bumping into stuff. And
that would be
being weird.
disappointing. I would hate that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, some interesting news. I think that Wind River stuff is really gonna be fucking cool because Taylor Sheridan is pretty much
fast.
3 for 3. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's fantastic. So, yeah. Do you want to talk about the movie now?
He was an actor too, hey?
Yeah.
He was an actor that turned writer,
Yeah.
which is wild. Like,
It's
good for
kind of
him.
insane because he's an amazing writer, and now he's like, people are using like his scripts to teach
Film
courses now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's sort of insane.
I can never get over that too. Like,
I know.
he was in stuff. Like he was in Sins of Anarchy, and then they were like, oh,
Yeah.
well, actually, I want to get into like writing and stuff. And he's like, all right.
Oh, okay, sure.
Anyways,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so spoilers if you haven't seen this movie, but The Sisters Brothers. So it's based off of
A novel.
the novel
Of the same
by
name.
Patrick DeWitt, which came out, I think, in 2011. Sorry, I'm just trying to find like there we go. So yeah, so it's directed by, let's see, Jacques Audiard. I think I got it there.
I think so.
Maybe. Written by him and
Watch it not be Jacques.
Yeah.
It's Jack.
Thomas beat again. Okay.
Just
Anyway, just
read
starting.
them out.
It stars John C. Reilly, Joaquin Phoenix, Jake Gyllenhaal, Riz Ahmed.
Isn't it Riz Ahmed?
Riz Ahmed. I'm sorry. I'm really fucking this up. Anyway, the movie is unbelievable, and I want to start off by saying that I think this is maybe my favorite movie of the year so far.
So with that in mind, is that because we just saw First Man a week before? And comparing the two, this movie blows it out of the water. Like, it is so significantly better. For me, at least, that might be part of why I like this movie so much, is because, like, I thought this movie, even in the dull spots, in the spots where there's just dialogue and they're just talking, I'm like, whoa, like, there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is really interesting. In the same spots in First Man, I was like, how much longer is this movie? Like, I just want to get out of here.
And I think you're right, but the only difference is I think I've seen like a few movies in between then, like just on my own.
Yeah, I have too, but like...
But I think part of it is you're right. It was probably the same length, because I think we got out of the theater. I think it started at the same time, and I think we got out
similarly, yeah.
And we got out of, like,
we also went to a theater that didn't show that many ads.
Yeah, true.
Also, which makes a significant difference on timing.
Should get them to sponsor us. Capital 6.
Yeah,
we should. We should ask them. Hey,
we
Capital
do a movie
6,
podcast.
what up?
I know everybody else is doing one. Fuck them. Let's just listen to ours. And it's not that good, but... And okay, what would you even ask them for? Just to be able to say Capital 6?
Yeah, be like
sponsored podcast,
advertising.
They're like, what do you want out of it?
The only thing is
a free popcorn. Whoa, hold on. Anyways,
get into movie free on Tuesday, so you're not losing that much money.
I mean, it's just $8.
Yeah, right. No, but I think, and it was funny because there was parts. Yeah, you're right. Like in the First Man, I was going like, oh my god, like I did like that movie, but there were a lot of times where I was like, wrap it up. I'm done.
This movie like really cooked along. Like it had like a pretty good pace, and like I think like the slower spots was maybe when Jake Gyllenhaal's character Morris was narrating and like writing in his journal, and even then, because they don't establish anything about him, a lot of what he's saying builds on who he is as a character, and it's interesting enough that you're sort of like, all right, this is obviously like pertinent information because it plays into the character later, and it does set him up as like a certain person, and a person who like doesn't want to get bullied around, who does take his job really seriously, who isn't intellectual.
Yeah, totally.
And then like all the scenes where he's conversing with Riz Ahmed character, Worm. Yeah. You're like, he's such a weird guy, and he holds these weird pauses in eye contact, and he makes weird things, but it builds who he is. Yeah. And so much of this movie had those moments. Should
we say quickly just like a brief plot synopsis? Yeah. Because I think that's one thing that we haven't been doing. So basically, it follows two brothers.
The sisters brothers.
Eli and Charlie, sisters.
Yeah. So Charlie is Joaquin Phoenix. Eli is John C. Reilly. He's the older brother.
And they're basically like...
they're hitmen.
They're hitmen, and they're tasked to go and find...
Worm.
Yeah, Worm, who's played by...
Riz Ahmed.
Yeah, who apparently has like this...
No, so initially they say that it's stolen. So they've stolen this like thing from the Commodore,
who's what
like
they're
the
told,
hitman's boss. And then like they go, and it's from their perspective, they're just like fighting people along the way to get to them because they're tracking him. And then Morris, who is sent ahead as a scout, is also like a detective for the Commodore, is sent to go like keep track of him and just like not do anything with him, but just make sure that they know where he is. Anyways.
So the cool thing about him, like you said, doing the little narration is you realize that he's actually writing to the brothers.
The brothers.
Because like there's parts where you're going like them coming into a town, the brothers are coming into a town,
and they're reading
going, like,
the letter.
Hey, is there any mail for us? And it's like under sisters. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
Sisters. Yeah, fucking sisters. And then you realize, they're getting mail from the guy who's now being friends with Worm.
Yeah, but I don't think initially it was planned for him to be friends. He was just keeping a distance.
Yeah.
Because they even like show him trying to like keep his hat down so that Worm doesn't.
And then he comes over. Yeah,
and then he initially like befriends him.
I've seen you before, and he goes, "No, you haven't." Like, yeah.
Yeah. So they're
then
like,
it sort of turns into something else.
He convinces him to like go to Jacksonville.
Yep.
And in Jacksonville, he eventually like tries to like handcuff him, but like Worm figures it out and like fights back. But then he eventually handcuffs him, and then Worm's telling him about how he knows that they're coming for this formula, and they're gonna torture him.
Yeah.
And Morris feels bad and lets him go, and they eventually like come up with a company, and they're gonna start their own thing
where they're gonna get gold.
Yeah.
And anyway, so the rest of the movie is just like the two brothers finding them eventually, and like so now we can keep talking about like the thing, because I just want to get out like the synopsis of the movie. But really, like it was really interesting because obviously with a Western movie, which it is, it's sort of a very like classic Western, not sort of like a spaghetti Western, but it's a Western movie. It's a
modern Western.
Yeah, and you have to show distance traveled fairly often, because like you're constantly going from place to place, which is in that day a very long time, because they would say like, oh, how far away is this town? And they would go like 2 days.
Yeah. So
and they're like,
something,
okay, so how do we show that?
This actually like occurred to me a couple times, is that in a lot of movies they'll say literal distance.
Yes.
And if you've never ridden a horse, or you've never done that over mountains or through rivers or whatever, you have no idea how long that's going to take.
You have no point of reference. Yeah.
And apparently I also heard, like, this is a while ago, but Canadians, most people in countries that use the metric system refer to distance by time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, how long? 2 hours.
Yeah.
How long? 5 miles or something. I know those are completely different, but like still. So like in this movie, they don't refer to it by distance at all. They refer to it how long it takes to get there. And I thought that was great, because then, you're right. Like they physically show them traveling a lot, because that's exactly what they set up. They were like, how long to get to Jacksonville? About 2, 3, 4 days or whatever. And they're like, okay. And then it shows them traveling for 2, 3, 4 days.
So the great thing about showing them traveling is that can be such a boring aspect, because it's like, how do you make that interesting? And I remember watching this one video on Edgar Wright and the way that he shows distance traveled in movies. And he tries to make it as interesting as possible, because like you can't really skip it. You being like, he's in London one day and then now he's in the country. Like, what happened? You have to show it somehow. And I really liked how this movie, it would show them on the horse and they're just chatting.
Yeah, they're just having
and music
a conversation.
is sort of like playing in the background where you hear the music more than you hear them talking.
Yeah.
But the cool part is that you actually hear them just talking about shit.
That part also applied to how beautiful this movie is. This movie is an amazing looking movie, the way that it's shot, a lot of the colors, but then also because they're traveling, it looks like in the middle of summer.
Sure, yeah.
Or ish, yeah, because like, but everything's in bloom, so they're like traveling across through the forest or over the mountains. At one point in the movie too, he goes like, how long are we in that forest for?
Yeah, right.
Which is sweet. Like that, and they're like, it's like a callback to what they did in there. And that does have like a lot of the travel time also is like important to the plot because of something that happens in the forest. Yeah. So like, for example,
just a quick example of that too is like where Joaquin Phoenix is drinking a lot, and then they're traveling the next day and he's like slumped over on his horse, hungover.
That, and then obviously this is like more of a spoiler, but like a bear attacks the horse while they're in the forest. Yeah. And that eventually leads to the horse dying.
Yeah, that's right.
He ends up getting like bit/eggs laid in him by a spider.
Yeah,
which happens in the forest. It was
disgusting
gross.
Part of the movie.
But it made them take longer traveling. Yeah, right. And it slowed them down, and it eventually played into the plot on them missing Morris and Worm.
Sure.
So a lot of that travel stuff was interesting enough because stuff happened while they were traveling. Exactly. Like, it wasn't just like they're in Jacksonville, they're in San Francisco, they're in wherever. It wasn't just places, it was stuff along the way, which made it great. Yeah. And yeah, it just like looked good too.
It was just a beautiful, beautiful movie. And it was cool, like, because you're constantly getting an idea of like their relationship and their relationship even to their father.
Yeah, which I thought was like kind of fucked up too.
Yeah, because he's like talking about how like what a terrible guy their dad was,
and then
but also he's like, we kind of have him to thank for how we're so good at what we're doing.
Yeah, because of his like psycho blood is in their blood. Yeah.
And it was really interesting that like not only were they, because I mean like you're it's a Western movie, so you kind of just assume like, oh, they're classic gunslingers. But they weren't. I mean, they really like fleshed out who they were, what their relationship to each other were. You know how John C. Reilly's character, Charlie.
Yeah. It's just the way you said character.
Charlie. Charlie like felt like he was like protecting Eli a lot of the time, and Eli really didn't have that.
No, vice versa.
Yeah, sorry, vice versa. So it was really cool. Like I thought maybe like not only did the dialogue sort of shape how they were together, but also what they, their actions actually, like everything was very fleshed out between the two of them and how they reacted to other people.
Yeah. So I thought, like part of that was they were clearly so good at being hitmen.
Yeah.
And that they really, like the story itself really didn't need to build on how good they were. They established how good they were by like storming that house in the opening scene. They establish it later when they're like protecting Morris and Worm. They don't need to build on how good they were. They built on their relationship, and then, well, that was it. Like they really just built on the two of them and how they interacted with other people. Like it was nice that they took that hitman part out of it.
Yeah.
And we're like, forget about this. They're good at this. They don't need to be better or worse at this.
Yeah, sure.
But let's focus on like them and how they interact with each other and like how fucked up they are in the past and how that's going to play out now.
Exactly.
Because like the one flashback that they do is like the dad chopping up bodies or something. Like it's really fucking weird.
Yeah.
And they make it sound like I thought the voiceover was the dad, but then later in the movie I thought maybe it's the brother talking about
that's
killing the dad.
What I thought, yeah. And he was like, that was how he was getting rid of the dad.
Yeah, he was like chopping him up. Yeah, it was fucking weird.
Which it makes more sense because that would be really the only time we ever hear from the dad.
Yeah.
Would be like him, chopping up the bodies or something, which that would be a complaint of mine if that was like the only time I'd like to know more about the
is
dad
that a
themselves.
Or is that more just like
curiosity? Maybe, yeah. Maybe not a complaint. But yeah, I mean, like it was cool seeing them sort of travel through town to town, and like they went to, what was the one, Mayfield?
Yeah, and they kill Mayfield. And then as they're leaving, they're like, "Good news, you don't have to call it Mayfield anymore."
Yeah, and they all like run into the building like celebrating.
I couldn't tell if they were celebrating or they were just like,
oh, they're just gonna go rob the place or something. Yeah, too. And it was funny, like them and like the Mayfield's men are like hunting them as well at some point, and he's like, you don't have to hunt us anymore. You're not gonna get paid.
Yeah,
and he like shoots at him.
They like kill him anyways.
Yeah, and he's like wearing his hat at one point, like. Yeah, it was such a well shot movie. It was a well directed movie. It was a really well acted movie.
I think that was what sealed it for me.
Yeah, because there was a lot of dialogue where you're like, if they didn't deliver it like that, this would be really corny
or boring.
But like the way
maybe
that's
just actors in general. Though,
sure,
right?
Yeah, I mean, but like and that's what makes good actors is like they are able to elevate that script or the dialogue that they're given, which I think. Every single actor that was in this movie did that.
Yeah, I like that this movie played mostly from John C. Reilly's perspective.
We talked about that after the movie, which is I didn't really realize until you had said that.
So it like follows him protecting Charlie, and it never really like goes to Charlie. It's mostly just him. And even, which I'm now thinking about, even when it goes to Morris and like him reporting on whatever, it's through a letter.
Yeah.
So it's John C. Reilly reading the letter, but Charlie's also reading the letter. But anyways, it's them reading the letter. So it's what, like, I guess you could argue that he's now imagining what Morris is seeing and doing and stuff. So yeah, I really appreciated that you had somebody to like, okay, this is the anchor type thing and following him through the story. And even when like it switches so that Charlie's mostly the killer and then Eli is showing like remorse over it.
Yeah.
And when Charlie has the accident and Morse and Worm die and then he loses his arm, it switches so that Charlie's now getting protected or now doing less killing, no killing. And Eli has to be the bigger brother, the older brother and protect him and stuff. And that was really interesting to me. I love how it ended. Or they right
before we talk about the ending, I just wanted to add to your point because like that makes it really super obvious that you're seeing it from John C. Reilly's point of view is where he's asleep and he swallows the spider and he wakes up and Walking Phoenix
Yeah,
just
you
killed
don't
a bear.
see anything that's happened in the meantime.
And you're like, wait, what happened? And he's like, I killed, like, the bear came out the horse. Like, I killed the bear. Like,
yeah.
And you're like,
wouldn't you have seen that?
Yeah,
if it was a shared perspective.
If it was a shared perspective, you would have
wasn't.
seen both. Like, you would have seen that happening and him just, like, falling asleep with a spider
Yeah.
walking in his mouth. So, so that's kind of a neat touch.
Yeah.
Which I guess you would have to read the book to really be
Yeah, and I don't know if that's in the book or not.
I'm not sure,
it
yeah.
is.
Which I'm interested to now sort of read that book and see if, like, there is more stuff on the dad, maybe. Like,
I was looking it up on Wikipedia. It didn't sound like it.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, the ending.
But yeah,
Ending
so
is
the ending,
beautiful.
the ending's really nice. Like, they go home and...
So maybe start from, like...
oh, yeah. So
how
the
other
idea
two
was
die.
that, like...
They were going to join. So they got convinced to join the gold company that Morrison Worm has started.
Yeah.
They die, so they ditch it. But he ends up having to take him into town to get his, like, arm fixed. And they were worried that the Commodore was going to come after them because they had realized that they weren't killing Morris, who they were also paid to kill, and Worm. So the Commodore was sending guys after him. So Eli's killing guys, and then they realize, okay, they just have to go and kill the Commodore because that's the only way it's going to end. So they're fighting their way through guys, and they get to the Commodore, and the Commodore's fucking dead.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that, like, at one point I was like, oh, like, he's not going to be dead. It's just like a trap. Like, they're just, like, luring him in.
They're like,
he gets there, and then when they're, like, putting their guns away, I'm like, oh, fuck, he's dead.
Yeah, he's
like,
totally dead.
Oh, no.
Then
And then I thought it was a trap, and then he punches him in the face.
They
and I
just,
was
like,
fuck
let
yeah,
him
okay,
in.
so-
And they're like, yeah, come in. Like,
Yeah.
service is going on right now.
Yeah, so, like, then he, like, makes sure that he's dead. So they were like, okay, what do we do? And then they go home. Because part of the thing was that they didn't do this for the money. They had money. They had stolen money. They had been paid pretty well by the Commodore. They didn't need the money. So they were just, like, looking for something to do. And John C. Reilly's character, Eli, kind of jokes about, like, starting a store or something like that.
Which
And,
Charlie hates. Like, he's like,
he doesn't
no,
want to
like,
settle
I'm
down.
not
He wants to
doing
be a hitman. And part of what changes his mind is losing his arm because it's a shooting arm.
Mm-hmm.
So then he goes home, and his mom almost shoots both of them.
Yeah.
Like, their mom almost shoots them. Lets them back in. And then the ending of the movie is this beautifully shot, what's it called? It's a continuous shot of inside their childhood home, like, of them resting, eating, bathing, like, all this stuff. And in the way it's shot, it finishes with Eli laying down on his childhood bed, and then it closes.
I think that's
And
really
it's amazing.
It's
It's
gonna be
such a perfect ending.
and it's such a memorable scene.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
them, and it's like they're like, "No, ma, it's us. It's like it's your boys." And then she's like, she kind of puts the gun down. And, like,
but then she's like,
then
you
the
better
next
not be
scene-
bringing trouble or something.
Yeah,
He's like,
and the next
no,
scene
like,
is just like them hugging.
Yeah.
And then it's just sort of like slowly moves about the house, and like they're eating, and she's in the bath, and then it ends with him just like falling asleep, and it's like,
yeah, it's so nice.
I think part of it is so beautiful is that, like, when Eli pitches to Charlie that he's like, let's start a store, like let's do something like that, and then Charlie he wants to continue to be like the hitman because he thinks he's really good at it.
He wants to be the Commodore, basically.
Yeah, and he's like, in his head, like, that's the dream, is to be like this cool outlaw. Like, he wants to live that sort of dream out.
Part of it is because that I think psychologically that's what he knows that he's good at because of how, like, fucked up his dad was.
And how fucked up he's realizing he is. So, and I thought it was really interesting because, like, as they're sort of, as the two, Maurice and Worm, die, and then he loses his arm, there's, like, this realization that when they're going back to the Commodore, that Eli is protecting Charlie, because Charlie doesn't have an arm anymore. He doesn't have, like, the shooting arm. So he's the one protecting him. He sees himself, he thought he saw himself as the bodyguard, and then Charlie kind of said no. He's like, that's definitely not what you are.
But then he turns into it.
And
it's this realization that he's useless without
it's
Eli.
like this really cool transformation. Well, not really.
I actually thought
but
that
like,
was maybe one of the more, like, interesting parts of the movie because there wasn't any dialogue.
Yeah.
It was just him like fighting through guys,
and
it was
running
just
away
Eli
from
kicking
guys,
ass, and then Charlie like fumbling, trying to help, and it was like really nice to see that kind of happen, like without them outright being like, so like Charlie, like what, like how come you're not? So like it was really cool to see that part of it. I honestly think that the third act like not to say, this isn't to say like the first and second act were like
Bad,
weak.
yeah.
The third act stole it for me. That's what like really put the bow on it, because it went from a Western with maybe some funny parts in it to this like
really
memorable, beautiful movie that ended amazing. Like it was just a perfect movie for me.
And it's funny that you say that, because first two act I was like, I think this might be my favorite movie so far.
And then the third act
I was like, it is. Like, this is really great, because like they go back and, you know, people are stopped chasing them, so they're sort of able to relax, and then they realize the Commodore is dead, and sort of that end scene is given so much more power, because you realize that like they both sort of got what they wanted.
Yeah.
Like Charlie can be the Commodore if he wants, because there is no Commodore anymore.
Yeah.
And Eli is able to live at home, and
I don't think he'll be the Commodore. I don't think he wants to be.
I think that's it.
That's
I think he's like,
mind,
But they're able to sort of be at peace with who they've become and who they're going to be in the future, or whatever, like what they were able to do.
Yeah.
And I think it was like, that just made the movie so much better and so much more beautiful than it already was, which is saying a lot.
Yeah. 7 out of 7 for me.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
I think like that was the same. There was a point during the first, second act where I was like, this is so good.
It really,
it completely blew me away, because so I showed this to a friend of mine, the trailer, because I was talking about how great this movie was, and I showed them the trailer, and the trailer is a comedy.
Yeah.
It puts literally every single joke. The only jokes in the entire movie are in this trailer.
Yeah.
And there's even some that didn't make it into the full movie. So I wonder if maybe they had gone with a different tone.
I think
and then re-edited it to be like, I don't know if it's working. Let's do it this way. Let's keep some of these things. Some of these like normal everyday life jokes, they're not like jokes.
Yeah.
And it works so much better. But I had to be like it's not a comedy. It's not like this at all. It's very serious. It's dramatic. It's like, it's a crime drama with some jokes. Like, I'd say that is like the most like off the wall type.
And that's not to say that the editing at all affected the movie, because I think the transition.
It honestly didn't it didn't occur to me until I had seen the trailer.
Yeah, and there's no point in the movie where you're going like, what happened here?
So that's the other thing, is that there's like chapters in this movie where it's a close up from Charlie's or Eli's perspective,
seeing something.
Of something specific that has some sort of role in the plot in that specific like area. So like when they get to the Commodore, it's the Commodore's crest.
Yeah.
Later, it's like the jewels of them going through the forest, and then it's like stuff like
the
that.
The jewels from him seeing Eli's, Charlie's horse.
Yeah.
So he's like looking. It's like him seeing it from that perspective.
So, which I was like, it was a really cool way of like breaking up parts in the movie. Not that it needed it. It was just like a neat like added thing. 7 out of 7. One of the other things I saw, or at the beginning of this movie, which really pissed me off, was how many production companies were involved.
That was weird. People were laughing
really
at that.
Fucking weird. And it was silent. And it was really like everybody had pitched in a certain amount of money, and they were like, no, I want my name on there. Like, we got to put our name on there. So I was reading the Wikipedia after, and so John C. Reilly's production company bought the rights of the movie.
He's one of the producers.
But then, like, he had gotten this other company that he like knows the person in to add to it, and then they eventually like just kept piling on. Yeah. But I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But 7 out of 7. This is my favorite movie so far.
Mine as well.
Definitely recommend going to see this. Yeah. I would say stay away from the trailer.
Trailer,
It's a Western, and that's all you need to know. It is violent, and that's why the R rating. Yeah. I was kind of waiting for more R rating stuff, and I was like, I guess guys are getting shot.
And you're seeing him getting sawed off, his arm sawed off. But the last thing I wanted to say is that this movie kind of bombed in the box office, and I really blame that on advertising. Yeah, I really don't think it was advertised that well.
And so it's not getting played at Cineplex.
And it's not getting played at like major theaters.
It's getting played at Capital 6, which is like more of an indie.
Yeah, so if you can find it, go and watch it. It's a beautiful movie.
Yeah,
and
it really is.
The book apparently is really great too.
Yeah.
7 out of 7 from me. Thanks for listening to Twin Speaks First Watch, First Listen of The Sisters Brothers, starring Joaquin Phoenix, John C. Reilly, Jake Gyllenhaal, and
Riz Ahmed.
Really great movie. You can follow me on Twitter at @kidcamo_, at Antimonium on Instagram. Check out our Twitter at TwinSpeaksPod_, and we've got like a TeePublic account now, so you can, if you want, you can buy some merch. We get like a
Buy that
any
merch
kickback, but like whatever. It's
what the
just
kids say.
cool to have a shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for listening. Cool.
Bye.
Bye.